Welcome to Pulp Mythos. Today we'll be discussing Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 2. Alright, welcome to the show. It's me and Spencer here. We are missing Larry. Larry is not with us.
We do miss Larry.
We do miss Larry. We absolutely do. He has moved away. Yeah, he's moved. He moved. He's still close enough to where there's a chance he could pop in on a future video. But as far as regular Sunday nights watching a show, it's just too far for him to travel and then get back home in time to go to work in the morning.
45 minutes.
Yeah, well, if you factor in the show length and talking about the video, shooting the video, traveling, whatever. So
and all those kids he's got to take care of, and
so he's still
all that schoolwork, and
he'll still pop in the future, but chances are Game of Thrones Season 8 will be mostly just me and Spencer talking about it, so here we go.
Miss you, Lair Bear.
So I'm going to say I'm going to go just jump into a little gripe up front. I really feel that last week's episode and this week's episode should have been combined into one episode. And because the pacing of both episodes were roughly the same, it was basically just, this is where the characters are, this is what they're thinking. I think that could have all been done in one episode.
I don't disagree. The thing that frustrated me was, I think, by them trying to kind of throw you off the scent of who's going to die, who's going to make it through the battle, they basically just gave us 27 mini stories when only about 10 of them meant something. The rest of them were all just, well, maybe we'll keep these guys around. They just had this important talk with, each other. I think that a big thing to pay attention to is all the people who have Valyrian steel swords now, because why would they have them? I think that's very important, especially for this battle. So, Sam giving his away, and I think that there's a couple people just trying to think of all the people who have them. I think that's Jorah having his now, even though Jon has his. Jorah's essentially, but he has one now.
Has the dagger.
Jaime, Brienne.
Yeah. I agree with that. Definitely. It like I said, it felt like positioning. They're positioning everything. But like I said, I think that could have been. I think you should have had 5 weeks. The premiere should have been 2 hours, and then you would have had your 4 episodes, which I'm assuming 2 or 3 of them are battle, and then you wrap up the series. Which I still don't know how they're gonna. I don't know how they're gonna do this in 4 more episodes.
And that's my issue, is that I felt like they spent 2 episodes worth bullshitting. Like they were just talking to each other. Now, to me, the culmination of this time frame, now that where they're at, them having some conversations and kind of growing as characters is important. You're kind of showing, I think, where the characters came to. At the big culmination of all this stuff, now you see how much Arya grew. You see how much Sansa is.
Well, that's the thing. I was never.
To me,
I was never unentertained.
No.
I as a viewer of all these seasons and being a fan, I was interested, but I did start asking my question. It started reminding me of Lost a little bit, where in a bad way, where you get to the end of Lost and you're like, are they going to answer anything? Are we going to get the answers? Now we still got several episodes left, and several of these episodes are going to be a little longer, so I think there's time. But it was just something I did think that maybe they should have combined the episodes, but they didn't. So
and that being said too, I think that by them now they might have to rush a couple answers.
That's my concern. My concern is we're going to get to that last episode or two, and it's going to be just nonstop, no room to breathe.
By spending 2 hours having heartfelt stories, trying to see where
seeing where the
characters went to, Now there's gonna be some things left off the table, I think.
Possibly.
Unfortunately. I hope not.
So this episode, Jamie was, at least for the first half, was definitely the central figure. You know, we had his little mini trial. We had him, his meeting with Bran, a couple meetings with Tyrion. Jamie, I think, is a lot of people's one of their favorite characters. He's one of my favorite characters.
I think as far as redemption stories, like you look at somebody like Theon, who I think they've tried to have a redemption story.
He's still not buying it. Yeah,
he's done too many unexcusable things that have made me not like Theon. But Jamie, I buy into him.
Cutting to that real quick, you know, I still don't buy Theon's redemption. I'm sorry. I know some people probably do, and that's fine. But Theon, yeah, he helps Sansa, but he's responsible for so many horrible, horrible things. And you can say, well, Jamie is too. I don't know.
But I think it's different. Like even Jamie said it. I was defending my house.
Jamie
Theon
lived by
wasn't
a
defending
code.
his house.
Yeah, Jamie would do horrible things, but he did live by a code, whether or not you could respect that.
He wasn't. Theon wasn't defending the Ironborn name or the Ironborn house. It was greed and him wanting to prove himself. Yeah. Jamie's was trying to lead his family's army. To me, it's two very different scenarios. The only one that's even close is when him pushing Bran out the window in the first episode.
Yeah.
It was driven by love. It had nothing to do with family name or anything. It did have to do with family name if them getting out the Cersei and him were to.
So mentioning Bran, I'm jumping into that real quick. Bran basically laying out what needs to happen, making the point that the Night King is coming for him, that's the whole point of all of this. We still don't have the answers as to why and what that means. I know you have a theory, it's floating around online.
Well, it's not like a new theory.
No.
Bran's the Night King. But my question, and we talked about this, I think that a lot of the dead are going to get through the crypts. That's how a lot of them are going to make it into the castle.
In the crypts.
But Bran's the one that knows how to get out of those, because that's how he escaped. When Theon basically threw all of them under the bus, that's how he escaped Winterfell, was through the crypts. But also looking at that, we've shown that he was able to travel through time. He was able to talk to Ned back in time. So my thing is that is this going to turn more sci-fi-y? Whereas what happens if the Night King kills Bran? If Bran is the Night King, then what happens? Like, does the Night King never exist because he killed him as a kid? Or vice versa? Is Bran able to kind of manipulate the Night King never existing because he never gets to that point, and then there's not this eternal winter?
And that's one of the things I think some people aren't realizing as far as the next couple episodes. Yes, we have big battles happening, but we're also I hope we get some answers about Bran and the Night King, which will be taking place during these battles. I think a lot of people are going to be making their moves, political moves, during this battle. Now that we have Jon and Daenerys at odds with each other and Sansa at odds with Daenerys, people could start trying to take each other out during this battle. Like more than just this battle might be happening at the same time.
Now, I know that the Game of Thrones is the name of the first book. It's not supposed to be the Game of Thrones series. Yeah. But to me, it kind of goes into, if that's how they're playing it, that the quest for the throne is more important than defeating the Night King, as far as storyline goes, and how they're. Because the next episode
spoke this episode, that's her.
The very next episode is going to be the big Night King battle. So now, even if in episode 4 that kind of wraps up, now they're going to have to go find out what Cersei's doing with Euron and all them. So to me, the Game of Thrones moniker means that the Game of Thrones, like who is sitting on the Iron Throne at the end, is the most important thing. It has nothing to do with the Night King. So I think that they're going to wrap that story up here pretty soon.
I do too.
But like we said, are they going to answer everything? Are they going to tie it together appropriately? Is my thing. Is that, you have this Night King that's been there, the White Walkers have been there this whole series, but they kind of been in the background.
I want backstory.
Yes, I want it to mean something.
Yeah.
And hopefully,
I
They've
mean,
done a good job so far. I hope continue.
they could look at it like the Night King and all that's very cliched fantasy, bad guys, evil. Cersei is the more complex political stuff. So
Yeah.
maybe we'll just skirt through the Night King stuff. It's not really that important. And the real meat of the conflict, which will wrap up the series, would be the Cersei stuff. That could be their mentality. I have no, I don't know.
Which is the opposite of what I thought was gonna happen.
Yeah, me
like if
too.
you watch any of our other videos, I thought that Cersei was gonna get
I
killed
thought-
at the end of last season. And then
I
this
was
whole season was gonna be about.
completely in agreement. I thought Cersei was done last season. Larry's theory, I'll go ahead and me and Larry talk often about the show. He still stands by, he believes that the Iron Bank is the primary antagonist of the series. And because remember, Cersei is invested or borrowed a lot from them. And the Faceless, or the Assassins Guild, whatever you want to call them, clearly have strong ties to the Iron Bank. If you look throughout the series, they've manipulated many things. There's speculation that Littlefinger was tied in with them as well. Yet again, are we going to be able to answer that in 4 episodes? Are we going to be able to dive into all that in 4 episodes? I don't know.
And I don't know because that is such a huge thing to kind of reveal. What backstory you're going to get? Why would they have done it? Other than to control both continents, that would make sense in itself. But I don't know.
Sansa said, "What about the North?" Like that was her big thing. Her and Daenerys were seeing eye to eye. They were agreeing on many things, but when it came to giving the North up again, Sansa made the point that not only is she against it, everyone's against it. The North has sworn that they will never take the knee again. And Daenerys clearly is against that idea. So much so when Jon confronts her, she goes out of her way to push the idea that this was made up, this is false, you're not Targaryen, your best friend and your brother are, spinning these lies. You could see the anger in her, and you could see Jon just basically like, look, this is how it is, you know it to be true, and then obviously it gets cut short because of, the battle. So.
Well, and that goes back to like what we've talked about. Her saying that they're in love. No, she's in love with the thought of the throne. And to me, there's been a lot of parallels between her and the Mad King.
Mm.
I think it's going to be between Bran, Jon, and Cersei as far as Iron Throne. I don't think that Daenerys is even in the running. I think that her lust for that is going to be her undoing, whether it's Arya stabbing her and killing her, Sansa, coming across, because it's...
I don't think I've heard anybody with this theory. It just popped in my head when you were saying that. Do you think they could potentially go back to pre-Targaryen, where each kingdom ruled its own territory? There is not a unifying throne. You get rid of the Iron Throne and just say Starks rule this, these guys rule this.
Well, to me, that wouldn't be a bad
compromise
thing to do. However, my theory is that the Iron Throne still exists. There's still going to be somebody who wants it. Daenerys still feels that she's entitled to it. Like to me, there's a lot of parallels between her and the person she never wanted to be. Mm. She felt like she never wanted to be her dad.
Her brother.
Yeah.
So that was the meat of the episode, basically, as far as, Jaime, Daenerys, Sansa, Jon. And then, like you said at the front, the rest of the episode was just little stories being told. Podrick singing a little song, which was a nice little scene. Just a lot of little discussions.
The best one, by far, is the Thermon
Giant's Milk.
Bane.
That's a meme, no question about it. Giant's Milk will be a meme
She
tomorrow.
thought I was a baby, so she was suckling me at her teat. That's why he's so strong.
That was amazing. I told you, it reminded me of Witcher. Anyone who plays the Witcher series, just the kind of dialogue you might discover in a quest on that. Love that. Arya, I felt a little odd. Yeah, I was uncomfortable with that. Only because we've seen her as a child, and I, still think of her. She still looks young. I don't know how old she is, the actress Maisie.
I
But
late teens, like 19ish or
Yeah, I would
early
think so.
20s. Like it's still young.
It's very young, and we've seen her as a little kid growing up. I mean, on the one hand, I was like, oh, it's cool. She's, this is what she wants. But at the same time, I think we were fine with it until we started seeing more of her. As she started just robing, I'm like, I don't want to see it, and it was a weird feeling because you almost felt like almost a parental.
Yes.
It was a parental feeling. Like, no,
Well, to me, her character has been one of the ones that has grown the most out of all the characters, and it's been forced upon her. It wasn't by choice necessarily, but the path that she's chosen and the path she's taken, she's been forced to kind of rise above. But that being said, like you said, it's almost like a parental figure. You see her, growing, and
it's like
you saw her when she was 9-10 years old.
Exactly.
And in the books, I know that time
They're
goes
way
by a lot
younger.
faster in the books, but and that's what I keep thinking too, like Daenerys, like when all that stuff happened with
She
her
was
and
a
Khal
child,
Drogo, she was like
13 years
13,
old.
14
Yeah.
years old. So I'm thinking Arya by this time in the books, in my brain, I'm thinking she's probably like 13. So for
She's
her to be
young.
like,
Yeah.
I
In the
want to be
books,
a woman
yeah.
now,
Yeah, it's a little uncomfortable.
it's uncomfortable for me. I mean, this show's got loads of those moments, but
Yeah,
that
it
one
was
specifically.
Well, I mean, it was just a bizarre moment because it's like, okay, we watch the show all the time. A lot of women, show themselves, and you're like, okay, cool. This is the one time where I'm like,
Please don't.
don't. And like I said, it's just because we've seen her grow up, and we still look at her as a kid. I think I'll go back to the Podrick song. I liked it, but it was a moment where it was a little cliche. Like, how many times have we seen that moment
Every Lord of the Rings
before the
movie,
battle? Yes, it was very Lord of the
any
Rings.
any fantasy,
It was
anything,
very, very much like that. And I was like,
which isn't
no, I mean,
which isn't a knock on it, but to me, once again, when we're talking about you have 2 hours, 2 separate episodes, 2 hours worth of unnecessary shit. There's
Yes.
probably 45 minutes out of those 2 hours that I think could have been kind of knocked off,
Yeah.
so that you can explain more of the other things.
because before we started recording, yes, you were saying, because I was saying you should have combined them into 2 hours. You said shave it down hour and a half. You could have knocked out last week and this week's episode. I was like, yeah, probably right. I do like Arya's cool Darth Maul staff thing. That's neat.
Dragon
glass.
staff.
Yeah. So, any other points? Pretty much covers the episode.
I just don't,
Who ends up on the Iron Throne? We've got 4 episodes.
John.
John. Makes the most sense.
Like, and I haven't watched our old video, so I can't tell you 100% of this, but I'm pretty sure that I was thinking that's who it was, or Bran, because I'm thinking that he's the Night King. That's one of the, but
Yeah.
to me that doesn't make sense because he doesn't give a shit either.
Yeah.
So, and speaking of memes, God, there's so many Bran ones.
Yeah.
They're fantastic. His deadpan stare and everything. But I do think it's John. Because I think Cersei or Daenerys is going to be her own undoing. And at the beginning of the episode, how they basically restructured everything.
That
They showed
was
the
cool.
different
Oh,
stuff.
yeah. Let's talk about that real quick.
The King's Landing thing,
King's
it
Landing.
shows the giant
Spike
spike
thing,
the ballista,
Yes.
killing a dragon. Now it's like probably one of their old skulls that they have down there. But to me, why show that unless that
It's going to be used
yes,
later.
one of the dragons are going to show up at King's Landing trying to wipe them out. Maybe that's how Daenerys dies. I mean, I was hoping that it would be Arya or Sansa, but
Yeah, that's a good point. How many do you think that the battle with the Night King is 2 full episodes?
I think it's going to be 1 full episode, and then by the end of it, there'll be like a climax, and then the 4th episode at the beginning, you'll have tying that story up so that you can go to the next story. Because then,
Yeah.
halfway through the 4th episode,
2
you're going to have to
episodes, yeah.
go to something. So I think the end of the 4th episode is going to be them rerouting to King's Landing, 5th episode, another giant battle. The beginning of the 6th episode, the finish of that battle, and then tying everything up.
Yeah.
That's my prediction as far as that goes, anyway.
Well, thanks for watching. If you're watching. And,
If not, thanks anyway.
yeah, really.
Appreciate it.
If you're not subscribed, subscribe to Pulp Mythos. A lot of new content coming up really soon, and Larry could pop in. You never know. Larry could return.
So if you really like Larry, stay tuned.
Yeah. If you demand that Larry be a part of all of these videos, put it in the comments section, subscribe, hit the bell, let us know that he has to be here.
We'll guilt him into it.
Yes, we will.
It's not that far.
No.
It's really not that far. All his illegitimate children sitting at home that he's got to take care of.
But all right. See you next week.